Good evening also. This night, for those of us who are here, it brings actual tremors. It's a very difficult time to recollect, and often we try to kind of take some thoughts out of our mind because the living with the thought process of so many friends and neighbors, and literally the absolute transformation of an entire community that took place 1 year ago. The actual Yahrzeit is Tuesday night and Wednesday, 13th of Tammuz, which was established as the day of the Yahrzeit when the last person was brought out. And the people who were involved in the process, starting from the search and rescue teams, the Israeli heroes that were here, it was very difficult to watch them during that period of time. It's very hard to see a 6'5", 300-pound African-American search and rescue person standing with tears flowing down his cheeks on a regular basis. The environment that now is called by the rescuers, they called it the holy pile. And they shared with me that many of them had never prayed so much in their entire life as during that almost 1 month period when they were on that pile. It's hard to describe, but just to give you some perspective, I was there on a pretty regular basis. And I was also there at the night, towards nightfall, when one of the firefighters found his child. And we watched him standing on the pile and literally picking her up. Every time they found any part of anybody, the entire operation ceased. As we came there during the day, there were Caterpillar trailers, tractors, hoisting concrete, cutting steel. And when they found any part of any human, the entire operation ceased. The only thing you could hear were the waves crashing against the sea. Nothing else. And the wind. We have to thank very much the authorities in the city who treated those they found just like a Chevra Kadisha would treat them, even though they had no Chevra Kadisha training. Each person was handled with great respect. They always wanted to know, how can we do so better? The darkness is obvious, the pain is unfathomable. Some empty spaces will never be filled. My mother, God bless her, she told me she lost everyone in her life that we could lose. Parents, brothers, husband. But the one person that she feels like an emptiness in her heart still is when she lost her son. So you cannot imagine the amount of anguish and pain that permeated this entire area. On the other hand, the outpouring of selflessness and kindness that took place here was transformative. Leadership, government leaders, starting from the president, governor, senators, civic leaders, they marveled at what this event brought out in the community. One lady from Paraguay, who is related to the highest officers of Paraguay. She walked around with a picture of her nephew's niece, who unfortunately were somewhere in the rubble. She was crying, and we tried to console her, brought her a little together, whatever she needed, whatever she wanted. We answered every need immediately. Everyone was open. She comes up to me one day, and she said again, the last Shabbos that we had here in the shul, with the with the families. She says, I'm a Catholic, and I never lived with Jews. I heard about them, but I never saw them, never lived with them. And she said, and you can imagine what you hear about them. She says, can you do me a favor? I want to be a Jew, she said. Can you make me a Jew? The end of the story, obviously, she's not a Jew. It won't make her a Jew. But just that thought was what evoked that kind of response. King David says, Vashem Yagia Chashki, God will light up the darkness. It happens to be that tonight is a big celebratory time in Chabad and the world over, because the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe was born, and in 1880, and was arrested on the same day. He was freed from the arrest on the same day in 1927, in the Bolshevik period. And you take a look at the factors, extremes. He was sentenced to capital punishment, literally. And a miracle took place. Because God does not create darkness in order to have darkness. He creates darkness to evoke within us a deeper sense of our own sensitivities, our own capacities, our own responses. Tonight, in honor of these Kadoshim, as I call them, who were interred in that holy ground, everyone here, if you just take one mitzvah, to do one thing more, or one thing better, as a result of you being here tonight in your life, doesn't matter what, one thing more, one thing better in honor of these people who have thousands of positive acts done on their behalf. Shem should elevate their souls, which I'm sure already are very elevated, and give each one consolation that we all need.
ברשות הרבנים, ברשות כל הקהל הקדוש הזה. A year later, and I would like to ask one question. What have we learned from that? How did that change our lives? Rabbi Lipsker, you suggested for each one to take a mitzvah. What mitzvah? I have one thought. I was privileged to develop a special closeness with the soldiers from Tzahal who were here. Until today, I have a relationship with some of them. And I discovered something I didn't know. I saw people who didn't look exactly like us. What I mean by that is, these were mainly non-religious chilonim with tattoos and with piercings. Not all of them, but many of them. And I was privileged to discover a whole new facet of the Klal Yisrael that I didn't know. And I was literally angels that didn't look to me what angels looks like. But I was wrong. I thought I knew what angels looked like. I discovered what real angels look like. People who selflessly gave everything they had. When I say everything, is everything plus everything times 3 that equals what they gave. I give you simple facts of what I saw. One Shabbat morning, a soldier came down. After hours of work, you have to understand, well, I don't have to explain to you, June, end of June, the weather is super hot, working hours and hours and hours, non-stop. The Americans, the teams in this country have a lot of protocols. They have to do 10 minutes on the pipe, 10 minutes off, etc. There's a lot of things. The Israelis don't have any of that stuff. You just go there and they stay until they have no more breath. And then they come down. I've seen them not being able to walk from the pipe to the one building was the blue building, and then Champlain East. That was the base of the IDF soldiers. They couldn't walk. I saw two soldiers taking one because he was too afraid, he was too tired to walk back. This is literally what? 30 feet? 40 feet? I've seen a soldier come one day, he was bleeding from the leg. He got hurt in the leg. There was a lot of blood. So they put alcohol and this and that, and he said, okay, yalla, chazarnu. Where you going? Well, I'm going back. Like, you could take 15 minutes, you know, could take maybe an hour to slow down. And we're not slowing down. We're going right back. Another guy got the pilot, when you saw the pilot from very, very close, looked very different than on the pictures. It was very dangerous conditions. I saw a soldier who got a piece of steel in his eye. And he came down. And same story, there was a doctor there, and the Hatzalah team, which was incredible. And the doctor looked, said, thank God, it pierced through, we went under the eye. I said, this guy is over 50, not a young kid. And he said to the doctor, so it's under the eye, right? He says, yes. Okay, I'm going back. Again, why are you going back? Take a break. He could have lost Chas v'Shalom his eye. He went right back. There was a whole team there putting IVs on the soldiers because they would come down after hours of work. And they needed fluids, they were all dehydrated. And that was happening every single day. Shifts of sometimes 18 hours, taking a break maybe to eat something and go right back. They wouldn't go sleep in a hotel because they wanted to sleep right there. You know what? On the beach chairs that they put by the pool, that's what they slept on for 2 weeks. Because they didn't want to waste time. When I saw that, I'm like, this is a new thing for me. I was in Israel 2 months ago, right after Paysach. It was a new trip for me because every person I saw there, I was like, you know what? This person could be just one more of those individuals. Each one of these guys served in the IDF. They're ready to give their lives for us. These are soldiers who came to help. They're all Malachim. These are Malachim who came to help us. We have to change the way we look at others. That's what I learned from that. And just suggesting that, because we're very judgmental, the way a person dresses, the way a person acts. We don't know any of what's going on inside the person. We don't know what these people carry. No idea. We don't know. There's a facade, and then there's the truth inside. It's deep down with no clue who the person is. So when I was in Israel, every person I saw, I said, this may be another malach, and this may be another malach. It changes your whole perspective. I just suggest each one take something, absolutely everything we take. The Ilu Nishmat, this Kiddush Elyon is going to be tremendous. But if you could try to stop judging each other, because there are tzaddikim who may not look exactly like we think tzaddikim should look like, and that could change the world literally. תהא נפשם צרורה בצרור החיים. אמן.
Before I introduce our esteemed guest, Rabbi Paysach KROHN, so on behalf of all of us here, I want to give one more thank you. Rabbi Citron gave a number of thank yous, but we do want to give one big thank you, and that's to Rabbi Citron himself. Rabbi Citron was the one who actually organized this event behind the scenes, so to this very special, meaningful event. So thank you very much to Rabbi Sitrun. The topic of Rabbi KROHN's talk this evening is ACHDUS and unity in difficult times. And it's very apropos that while we're here marking this very difficult Yahrzeit, a Yahrzeit that touches each and every one of us in our own way, that we're doing so together, that we're doing so with ACHDUS. It's really beautiful that all of the neighborhood shuls, all the shuls in this particular area and beyond, are here together. The leadership of these shuls, the rabbanim of these shuls. We have with us this evening the shul of Bell Harbor, the Surfside Minyan, Or Uziel, Magen David, the Safra Synagogue, and of course the Young Israel of Bell Harbor. And in addition, many of you came from surrounding communities, surrounding neighborhoods, and we welcome you all. And this is really, truly a beautiful living example of what I believe Rabbi KROHN will focus on this evening, a beautiful example of ACHDUS and unity in the flesh. It's my honor this evening to introduce to you someone who needs no introduction. Certainly not here in Bell Harbor, where we've had the honor of hosting Rabbi KROHN over the years a number of times. Rabbi Paysach KROHN is an internationally acclaimed author, speaker, moel, and a general fountain of inspiration and chizuk. Rabbi KROHN has authored more than 15 books, including a definitive book on Bris Milah, and of course the famous Maggid Speak series, with its collection of moving stories that always have a powerful life lesson. Rabbi KROHN lectures on hundreds of topics, and travels around the country and around the world to share his unique, down-to-earth blend of wisdom, eloquence, and inspiration. His Avas Hashem, his Avas Yisrael shines through in every shiur that he gives, in every lecture that he delivers. Without further ado, it's our pleasure to hear this evening from Rabbi Paysach KROHN.